All right. You gonna say something good about the head of the table? I've been waiting for this. This might be somebody you was wrong on.
I will admit, we don't give Vince McMahon the credit that he deserves.
Yeah, well, you said that plenty of times.
Hear me out though.
Okay.
He's a visionary, and sometimes he sees things before we do. Mm-hmm. Drew McIntyre, and now the superstar that we will be highlighting today, Roman Reigns.
Boom!
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm, the flagship edition of our show. That public information? It is now. He is the real Dwayne Allen. I am Brian H. Waters, but today I'm Mr. Main Event.
Oh, that's a throwback.
But 10 years in the game. 10 years ago, there wasn't this guy who Vince McMahon was shoving down our throats.
Pause.
See, you've been around kids too long. I'm comfortable where I'm at.
No, but you can't get caught slipping.
You can't. There wasn't this man. He was down in FCW. I think his name was Leak.
Leaky, or is that what they call him?
Something.
No, I don't care.
But
we're giving this man credit today, and I don't.
A few years later,
I don't even care about this.
We did an episode, the Attitude Era. But then we also highlighted stars that we would see that was coming, right? That was our only episode of season 3.
Like, just get through it, because the wind-up is killing me. Like, we just...
I see 3 world champions right in the making.
Well, there you have it. Mr. Main Event has given the endorsement for the Shield as 3 future world champions.
But today, he is the head of the table, and Dwayne Allen will acknowledge him, Roman Reigns, as we give a spotlight. Shout out to all the Roman Reigns fans out there. There's been some fans who've been his fans since day one. I was not one of them.
No, we were not. We went on like warpaths against Roman.
So, yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll tell the
story. Let's get right into it. So for me, he was cool where he was, right? He came in, remember the Shield.
Yep.
You could see, okay, clearly he's the muscle. He was the greener of all of them.
Yeah, he was kind of quiet. He didn't say too much early on.
And I said, okay, and then, at home, my now wife, which was my girlfriend at the time.
Because you married us. So
right.
That's where they're...
But, if she had her way, she was googly eyes over Roman Reigns. I'm like, okay, I get it.
She's not the only one. Exactly.
So, all of this. And I'm sitting there like, all right, whatever. So, all of a sudden, he wins the tag titles with Seth Rollins. Cool. Then...
Ambrose was the United States champion at the time, wasn't he?
Who? What? Oh, yeah.
That's who he was.
I mean, he even called him out for not defending it. But then all of a sudden, boom, he wins the Royal Rumble. And he doesn't go away. We go into WrestleMania. Comes close.
No, I can't do this. I don't want to talk about it.
He doesn't want to talk about Roman Reigns. Now, here's the thing.
That's all right.
I figured. Okay. Here's the thing.
We got to do this.
Before we ain't gonna revisit all boring parts. We're gonna jump the shark.
Is that a good thing? That's not a bad. That's a bad TV term.
That's a bad TV term.
You're a TV production guy. You have your TV.
I know.
You got your major in television production. You can't say jump the shark.
No. Here's the thing. It's most of the time it's bad. Technically, it's getting to somewhere before without going through the whole process.
Okay, that's fair. I appreciate
So sometimes you gotta jump the shark.
I appreciate the clarification because now it works again. Okay, back on track.
So
you see him trying to do everything to not get to the point where I have to give Roman Reigns credit for anything. Okay.
Shout out to Dr. Adamo. He'd be proud of you though.
I don't think he remembers my name, to be honest with you.
Well, we friends on Facebook. Well, you don't like people.
I don't. That's just not my thing. I don't just. Stay over there. I stay over here.
Yeah, but so we're gonna jump the shark today. We're gonna go to SummerSlam. You never saw it coming. They had this build, right?
Okay.
Now we knew for the WWE Championship, Universal Championship, it was Braun Strowman defending the championship against Bray Wyatt.
You have noticed we do this a lot when we do record. Mm-hmm. This is like a thing for us.
Now here's the thing. You never saw it coming. What was people saying? The thing that everybody likes to say. Brock Lesnar's coming. Brock Lesnar this.
It's always easy
Brock
to say.
Lesnar that,
It's an easy
right?
bet. Because he was always coming at
Well, all of a sudden,
point.
somebody shows up with new teeth and a new shirt.
Did you say new teeth?
He had new teeth.
He got his teeth done?
Yo, you ain't know that?
I'm not looking at his teeth.
Everybody, but I wasn't paying much attention. But stuff makes its way around on the internet. Somebody knows, then they keep talking about it.
Who knew? I didn't know the brother had new teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Roman Reigns shows up.
Uh huh.
Now he's with Paul Heyman, and everybody's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, that was a
game changer.
Indeed.
Suddenly, in a rare occasion, a very rare occasion, WWE does another pay-per-view the next week. Mm-hmm. I think they just did the pay-per-view just so they could put the belt on, personally. Knowing how Vince loves Roman.
Speculation to speculation.
They take us into the next pay-per-view. Roman Reigns becomes the WWE Universal Champion, and he has not lost a match since. We're coming up nearly a year. Now, here's the thing. This is the reason why we're spotlighting him. Throughout this year, or, leading up to it, Roman Reigns has been must-see television. He's literally hit on everything. Every story.
Yeah.
People could say they was tired of him and Kevin Owens, but each time they got in the ring or backstage, it was interesting. The story with his bloodline, Jey Uso. He had to get Jey Uso in line, whip him into shape, for lack of a better word, and now all of a sudden, he's falling in order. He's main event Uso. He won the Andre Giant Battle Royal.
I think the biggest thing is character development.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at who Roman Reigns was and the way he was presented to us early on, we saw him go down a similar path as to a John Cena.
Yeah.
Where you recognize that you have new young talent. He's got the size, the look, and he has the marketing capability. He's proven that he can make money for the company. Mm-hmm. So you hitch your wagon to this young superstar because this is relatively your superstar for the future in regards to your brand and as regards to your corporate entity, your top guy. We saw him being groomed early on, but we saw him very, very limited. And yet he was still being pushed and thrust to the forefront of our attention even when we didn't want him to. Mm-hmm. Right? Sure, we had an opportunity to embrace Roman, but when Daniel Bryan got eliminated from the Royal Rumble, it was like, well, wait a minute, this is not what this is what we signed up for because we still were clamoring for our moment with Daniel Bryan. Now, don't get me wrong, the Yes Movement would eventually take over and change a lot of things, but it was obvious that Roman was starting to be pushed to the forefront.
I think we wanted his run, right? Because he had one title defense.
No, we wanted the Yes Movement to do it. I wanted the show to start with Daniel Bryan, to be Daniel Bryan, to end with Daniel Bryan.
But the thing is, Daniel Bryan never had to run. He had to relinquish the championship. That's what I'm saying. It was never complete. It was like you going to McDonald's, getting the cheeseburger, but not getting the French fries or the ice cream.
There was unfinished business.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
We said the same thing. We just argued said the same thing.
Hey, listen. The fact is, I got to give Roman credit.
Been working together,
and I don't give a goddamn about why it happened. Mm-hmm. The reality is, we wanted Daniel Bryan for everything. Now, I was an unreasonable fan. Of course, I was for reasons that Brian H has clearly said. It was unfinished business. Mm-hmm. It got shortened, and then we wanted him to return and for it to resume.
Yep.
No, they had other plans. They decided to go with the young superstar and talented Roman Reigns of the Shield to be the forefront guy going into the future, but it's not what we wanted. Now, granted, the WWE at that time was not catering to our age group. It's a PG brand product, and it's no secret that we don't necessarily fall into that demographic, but we still watch it because we enjoy what we enjoy at the end of the day. But regardless of the situation, Roman. And then when you began to put guys like Daniel Bryan, who was a people's champion. And that's not saying he was a champion of some sort, but he was a people's champion. We wanted Daniel Bryan. What they give us? Roman, and more Roman. So after a while, we began to notice a pattern. Say, you know what? I'm sick of this crap. You're not gonna keep trying to give us Roman when we don't want him.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you can cater to children all you want, but we are the voice of the people. We are the social media. We are the IWC and the internet wrestling community. We are the fans at the shows. We don't want Roman. And Roman began to get booed. We began to strike back at Roman because they kept trying to give us this big, strong, stern-faced, baby-faced Samoan to be the next face of the WWE that we're supposed to run to our TVs and our phones and our tablets every day of the week looking for Roman anything. No! It's not what we were going for. Not acceptable. But then some things changed. Mm-hmm. It seems as if Roman Reigns decided, or maybe someone decided for Roman Reigns, that we're not going to go down this typical John Cena-esque route because it doesn't necessarily work as revered and as much money as John Cena made for the company. It's not like let's not pretend like he was one of the most popular guys on the roster for a long time because there was a split amongst the wrestling audience. There was the kids versus the adults.
Oh, yeah.
You had Rock, you had Cena, and they represented two different generations, and they clashed twice. Mm-hmm. Let's not act like he wasn't a wrestling fan Civil War when it came
Once
to this
in a
type
lifetime,
of
twice.
If that makes any sense, but they sold it to us, though. Right?
I bought it.
They sold it to us. And we cut some rather interesting promos during that time.
You did. Yeah.
Was that me?
Yeah.
Did you cut anything on that?
Nah, because I already knew Rock was when I was with the Rock.
It was so old and it was so bad, you can't even, look at the footage. We can't even upload the footage to anything of the technology that we have today.
It's on the YouTube channel. Subscribe down below right now. Turn the bell notifications.
You're going to have to go back really far to find it. Anyway. We had the Civil War, so it's not like John Cena was the most popular guy on the planet. Mm-hmm. At least he was commercially, but maybe not amongst us wrestling fans. So Roman Reigns finds himself going down a similar path, but yet there's a dramatic curve. Roman Reigns is a man of the people. He's a man of the kids, but he came back with a different attitude. We saw a side of Roman Reigns that we probably didn't think we were going to get for another 10 years. Mm-hmm. We saw this evil heel that kind of bucked himself against the system and throwing his privilege in the face of other people. Now, here's where the interesting twist came. Roman Reigns came back with this new justified attitude in regards to his family legacy. Now we got a problem. Yeah. Because if anybody knows the Samoan wrestling dynasty, it's one of the most revered and most celebrated wrestling families in the history of all professional wrestling that most fans either know of or have always celebrated. Right? We talked about just the bloodline and the lineage that falls from where it started to where it is now and where it is going. It's something we've always celebrated, but yet now we're being asked to celebrate Roman. So now the pot thickens, and now we're confused because it's like, wait a minute. I don't like you, Roman, but you have my attention. So now we have to go somewhere. He takes us on this ride, right? And we've been riding for almost a year because we're like, where's this going? And now all of a sudden, he begins to say, listen, I have to do this for our family legacy, right? He kind of beats his cousin into submission and breaking him out of what he considers a strategic business mode of doing things the way he used to versus understanding the important business of the family legacy. Mm-hmm. Now you have a conflict. So what we have overall is we have this overall arching interesting story that we've been pulled into that we can't help but to enjoy because it's got to be one of the most dynamic and complicated stories that makes sense because we've always celebrated the family legacy of the guy that we used to hate 10 years ago.
And you can't help but like Roman Reigns.
And the guy is doing an excellent job of it, and it's killing me.
It's so crazy because
it's killing me.
There's times where, there's always, he turn heel. Cena should turn heel, right?
Yep.
We've seen Bret Hart do it. Bret Hart was the prime baby face of the WWE. Yep. And then they made him a heel in Canada, and he pulled it off. But some people
hero in Canada.
Hero in Canada and a heel in the United States. To me, this was 2021. Bret probably had all the black people on this side. You feel me? But you move forward. He's like, did he just say what I think?
I'm just thinking we grew up on Bret Hart. Like the hood loved Bret Hart.
You said the hood loved Bret Hart.
I'm telling you, they did.
Got a black wife.
He is married to a sister.
Mm-hmm. And you look at Roman, I mean, you know, because even
he really is married to a sister though. I thought about it. Like, oh yeah, he is. I forgot.
And they said John Cena. I don't know if you saw this report, but Vince wanted to do the same with Cena.
Sure.
And Cena said, "I'm either going to be full heel or full face. Not heel in some parts of the country, you know." But with Roman, I'm glad that they didn't wait 10 years.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
But it's also cool because he didn't do it like his cousin. The Rock had, you know, kind of similar things starting off where they wanted to anoint him and he was happy to be here. They was, you know, going to push him to the moon because he was, you know, good looking Samoan.
And they even highlighted his family legacy.
Highlighted family legacy, you know, and then, you know, they highlighted his black and Samoan side, you know, and it was push him to the moon. But it was like, now, then The Rock says, all right, well, now I'm, you know, heel. Can I come out and say this, that, and the other? What I like is Roman never acknowledged anything he did in the past as far as people liking him or, you know, booing him, you know. And granted, he hasn't cut a promo in front of fans yet, but, you know, so far he hasn't because all that's like irrelevant. He is the head of the table and doing it for his family. You know, he kind of reminds me of Victor Newman on The Young and the Restless. Anybody knows anything about Victor Newman? That is, there's nothing more important than family.
What old lady demographic watches
First of all, it's
to
not
know
just
what the heck you're talking about?
I'm just old ladies.
I'm just saying though, like what's
But so
you got Victor Newman reference.
You know who he is.
Yeah, because you talk about it all the time.
I'm pretty sure you know who he is.
If I knew who he was, I probably didn't know that's who it was.
Oh, you would. Everybody who sat in their grandmama's, grandfather's kitchen knew who the Newman is. There was a picture that said, you knew you was raised by your grandma if you saw this guy.
Wow.
But you know, but so Roman Reigns is doing this, and I think it's some of the best work. I think it's long overdue. But then again, part of me say maybe it's not because what ground would he have had to stand on? If he tried this in 2016, right?
Sure.
He hadn't accomplished much.
No.
You know, but now he's a multiple-time WWE champion.
Mm-hmm.
He's previously he was a Universal Champion before, you know, his unfortunate bout with leukemia.
Yeah.
So that right there, you know, and a lot of people say, oh, well, how you gonna boo Roman after he beat leukemia, right? But here's the thing.
I got no beef with Joe. I know why. My issue is with Roman Reigns.
Boom. And the thing is, let's not act like... So Roman comes back. You remember when he came back from, you know, the night Seth Rollins had won the championship, right?
Okay, got you.
And he came out there to celebrate with him. And everybody got scared.
Yeah.
Because they was like, oh boy.
Here we go.
And then he looked at him, you know, he kind of gave him a look like, you know, I never lost it. Then he was like, it's like, buddy. And then just, you know, celebrated with his, you know, best friend.
Shield
brethren, right? Fast forward, they get ready to take us for a ride now. For all intents and purposes, Roman was featured more in the SmackDown main events during Kofi's run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he got drafted to SmackDown, we kind of knew, okay, WWE got this Fox deal. They're going to make Roman the face of the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So we go into getting ready for WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to face Goldberg.
Okay.
They was getting to the point where they was blowing back into the boo birds. That's what people may not remember, but they was booing. But at one point, there was a both men suck promo. Chant.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, pandemic happens. Roman says, look.
Stepping away.
I'm stepping away. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know. And he comes back, and he's a whole brand new man. What is something you're looking forward to seeing as we move forward with Roman Reigns?
The one thing I'm looking forward to seeing is the continued character development. It's something that we don't get a lot in today's professional wrestling. So to see it with a top guy, it's refreshing because it gives you longevity and versatility with what you can do with your world champion, with your top guy. Mm-hmm. How many times has Roman Reigns really had defended the Universal Championship? But it's irrelevant. It's not important because we care about the man who's the champion, not the fact that he's the man and he has the belt. Sometimes the championship, makes the superstar, but the superstar makes the championship. Mm-hmm. And that's the type of in-depth storytelling that I've enjoyed up to this point because he says things that is very villainish, but at the same time, it's one of those cerebral villains that is like, oh no, I don't think that I'm wrong in this situation. You just don't understand because you don't know where I come from. And you culture, you're like, well, wait a minute. Is he really wrong what he's saying? Mm-hmm. Is what he doing? Is that can I honestly say I wouldn't do the same thing? Now it's like
Boom.
you don't agree with his methods at the end of the day, but on the other hand of it, the guy gets the results. He gets things done.
So you wouldn't beat up your cousin if he wasn't falling in line? If you knew you could get the results out of him, would you have to go that tough love route?
Here's the wrinkle of it though. Culturally, that's not something I'm familiar with. But who am I to sit there and say that that's not acceptable where he comes from? Because now it looks like it plays off today's 2021 because you can't speak against somebody's lifestyle or family traditions culturally because it can be considered racially insensitive.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, shoot, I can't come out there and say that's wrong because you can say, well, culturally, this is what we do. What are you doing speaking against my culture?
Uh-huh.
So it's like, man, it kind of plays on society and it plays on norms changing today where we can't necessarily judge someone based off how they grew up. And if they've told so many stories that fit in line with what we're seeing on television. And they pulled our heartstrings and that they made us sympathetic and they made us understanding for this guy doing what's really ultimately the wrong thing. And it's probably one of the best stories that is being told in wrestling. It's probably one of the best stories that has ever been told in WWE that we've seen in a long time. It takes a special individual to be able to pull this off for so long. And it's like, I have to admit now that Reigns is special because they've allowed him, they've allowed him to do something more than just stare and make the face. And
I would admit, I was against it. You know, every time I was bashing Roman Reigns, every chance I had, you know. But I realized at SummerSlam, okay, wait, this guy's different. And then when he came out and then, you know, waited a while and then entered the triple threat match at the pay-per-view that was after, I'm gonna just keep calling it the pay-per-view. I think it might have been Battleground.
Okay.
But you know, that's when I was like, uh-oh. Now I can't wait till SmackDown. And especially he was with Heyman. And you knew
Heat Seeker. Yeah.
Right, a Heat Seeker, and then the thing is he's like his special counsel. You know, Heyman doesn't even have to do much of talking. Let me ask you this before we close out. What would a Roman Reigns victory over The Rock mean?
Solidifies his place in history. It's an easy story to tell because you can say, look, Roman, you're not the head of the table until you beat me. Like, you know, I've seen you deal with little cousins, but guess what? You're my little cousin. You know? And nothing you have done now will ever match up to what I've already done.
Right.
So if you want to prove you're the head of the table, you got to go through me. Oh, boy.
Let me ask you this.
No, he doesn't beat The Rock.
Is that enough to sell?
So what?
I was trying to say,
is the Rock involved in anything?
Yeah, but
you don't need to. It's The Rock. You know what doesn't The Rock sell out of? You don't have to. No, it's The Rock. Well, it could be The Rock and a piece of paper. The Rock.
I was gonna say, is that enough to fill Jerry's world?
Yes, yes. It's The Rock. Like, are you kidding me? In Texas, they love him in Texas.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
You know, most people think they're gonna wait till Hollywood, but I mean,
Cena's coming back Hollywood, so that might be his WrestleMania.
Yeah.
2022 or 3? 2022?
I mean,
Is this upcoming WrestleMania?
Yeah.
2022?
This 20. No, this is Jerry's world.
Jerry's World.
And then
Hollywood. And
so
then
a lot of people
Vegas,
think they're gonna wait the next year.
Look, so I know Cena's coming. He made it clear that he's coming back 2020 at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's like, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
You know, don't let me get to speculating, but you know, pandemic should be well and through. It should be, well, let's put it this way, it should be fans in full capacity at that point. So
we shall see, man. I'm excited. I think that WWE struck gold, and I consider him like he's the megastar of the day.
I don't know what the world's come to. We used to hate this guy.
Yeah.
And now we sitting there on the show like this is a 10-year difference. Like we used Roman was this, Roman was that. We was anti-Roman because we was all Daniel Bryan. And now we gave him a whole show. Like we made this all about how great he is.
Yeah. Sidebar. 10 years ago, you was against John Morrison. You still feel that way?
No, I like him in the role that he's in.
Okay.
Is he a world champion now? No. I don't care what the Miz says. him being comedic and athletic, that works for me.
Okay.
Don't get cut.
You hated those sparkles before.
No, I hated the slow motion.
Yeah, that too. That
bothered me. He was a serious character there. Like, dude, that's not meant to be serious. That's a joke. And like now it's perfect because he's himself, but he doesn't take it serious. It's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm more of a fan of him now than I've ever been.
Cool.
Because they're not. And once again, they're not trying to make him the guy. So.
Yeah. Well, you've acknowledged the Roman Reigns.
You're making it worse.
Of the WWE.
Not helping at all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Let us know, who do you think is... No.
No. That's what I've been saying all day about this Roman Reigns show. No.
Well, what do you see next for Roman? Who do you think beats him? Right now I don't see anybody. I know at one point I thought it was Big E. Later down the line, but I can't even.
We'd have had that conversation.
Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast every week. Make sure you check it out. Send us your comments, likes, subscribe everywhere. Turn the bell notification on right now. Follow him at TRDA Brand on Instagram, at Dwayne Allen 24 on the Twitter. Me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms. Until the next time. Too sweet.
This show wasn't born for the weak. This show wasn't born for the so simple.